Hi guys, it is Wednesday morning, October the 28th, and we are going to do a couple of things today. We're actually going to work with strong verbs, and we are going to make the keyword outline for Charles Carroll. So your parents received instructions yesterday that they should just read the source with you and that you should highlight. Some of you may have gone ahead and written your keyword outline. That's fine. But if you didn't, we're going to do it today. And so we'll be ready to do some oral retells tomorrow when we meet virtually. So definitely plan on that. I can't remember what time we meet on Thursday, but when we meet, we'll do some oral retells and we'll also catch up a little bit on the grammar. So I apologize that we didn't get to do the Charles Carroll outline. We're still struggling to use our time effectively, or at least I am. So anyway, get out page 12 of your writing, and that's the booklet that has the Baltimore Oriole on the front of it. And so we're going to get that out, and we are going to practice with our strong verbs. And so we have several different sentences. There's 5 on there. I want you to put your name on the paper because I would like for you to turn this in because I want to see what you choose. Now remember, we underline in green. So you need either a green crayon, a green highlighter, or a green colored pencil. I like the colored pencils best. So you're going to put your name and the date, and then we are going to do the sentences one by one. So once you've done all of that, then we'll be ready to go. If you need a minute, then you can hit pause and we will, and then you can come back when you're ready. So I assume that you're ready, and we are going to start with number 1. The girl ate her sandwich. Now there's nothing wrong with the word ate, but we can probably think of a better word, and I wrote down a few. And if you want to pull out a thesaurus, you certainly can, and you can see if you could find something else. You could look up the word ate and see what else you could find. Now, I have a couple of suggestions: devoured, gobbled, slurped, and inhaled. So you can choose one of these words, or you can look in the thesaurus. So you can hit pause while you're choosing, and then I want you to write the sentence. So you're going to rewrite the whole sentence, and you're going to put in your new word for ate. So cross out ate, and you're going to put in a new word. So if you want to use devoured, it would be the girl devoured her sandwich. If you want to use slurped, it would be the girl slurped her sandwich. So hit pause and take care of number 1. Now let's move on to number 2. The turtle walked down the beach. And if you've ever seen a turtle walking on the beach, he's not real quick. So I tried to think of mostly slow words, but I didn't. I kind of threw one fast one in there just in case he's a fast turtle. So either look up in your thesaurus other words for the word walked, or take a look at some of mine. Tiptoed, sauntered, galloped. That's the one that's not slow. It would be funny to see a turtle galloping down the beach. Or strutted. So there's 4 possibilities. And if you want to hit pause and then take a look at your thesaurus or choose one of mine, then you will be ready to rewrite number 2. Okay, let's move on to number 3. And remember, if I'm moving too fast, the one nice thing about a video is that you can hit pause and you can take as much time as you want. So hit pause if you're not quite ready for number 3. But if you are ready for number 3, we have Becky looked at the painting. Now we want to think of other words for looked. The look is kind of one of those banned words we don't like to use in IW. So if you use it in your writing, I might tell you to find something else. So here's a couple of words that I chose: watched, observed, examined, and noticed. Now, you may have to either take a word out or add words from time to time. So if we put Becky watched, we don't want to keep at in there. So we would say Becky watched the painting. We could also say she observed or examined or noticed. So we probably could get rid of the word at with other words that we use. So either look up in your thesaurus or choose one of mine and write number 3. And now let's take a look at, we're going to take a little break here. And what I want to do is to remind you what strong verbs are. Strong verbs are the action words, and you know we've been looking for subject nouns, and we look for the verb to go with it. We want really good action words so that it can really describe what's going on. We always want to ask, what is the person or animal doing in the story or the sentence? And we want to take simple words and make them better. So that was your commercial break. Now let's get back. I was hoping that you guys could maybe catch up during that time. So now let's move to number 4. Now we have the squirrel ran across the wire. Now we want to think of other words for ran. That's kind of a boring word. And I'm sure we can think of something much more descriptive. So if you've ever seen a squirrel running across a wire, they're usually moving fast. They're usually not walking. So I came up with a couple: scurried, skipped, scampered, and bolted. Now, you could use 3 of them and get a particular technique called alliteration. You could say the squirrel scurried, skipped, and scampered across the wire. And we have all these sk sounds, and it's just kind of fun writing. Or you can just choose one and write in the blanks for number 4. And finally, we're going to do number 5. Mr. Jones talked to the naughty children. I'm going to think of other words for talked because that's not terribly exciting. And so we could say he spoke. Mr. Jones spoke to the naughty children. Mr. Jones screamed. We would have to change to at. Mr. Jones screamed at. We could say Mr. Jones chatted with the naughty children, or Mr. Jones whispered to the naughty children. So you can choose one of those or look up talk and see what else you can come up with. So those are our strong verbs. Once you finish that, I want you to put it in your folder to turn in next Monday. And I will be excited to see which words you have chosen. So put that in your folder and now get out your Charles Carroll. And we are going to read through that and work on the outline for that. So I'm going to read it, and if you have not already highlighted, then please take a moment to highlight or underline. I'm not going to go slow, so you'll have to kind of keep up with me here. Charles Carroll was born into a wealthy Roman Catholic family in Annapolis, Maryland. He began his rather remarkable formal education at the age of 8 when he was packed off to France to attend a Jesuit college at St. Omer. He continued practical studies in Europe until, at the age of 28, he returned to his home. Charles Carroll is said to have identified with the radical cause at once and was an early advocate for armed resistance with the object of separation from Great Britain. However, his native colony was less certain in this matter and did not even send a representative to the First Continental Congress. He visited the Continental Congress in 1776 and was enlisted in the diplomatic mission to Canada, along with Franklin and Chase. Shortly after his return, the Maryland Convention decided to join in support of the Revolution. Carroll was elected to represent Maryland on the 4th of July, and though he was too late to vote for the Declaration, he did sign it. He served in the Continental Congress through much of the War of Independence and simultaneously participated in the framing of a constitution for Maryland. He died the last survivor of the signers of the Declaration in 1832 at the age of 95. So he's a very interesting man. He lived in northern Frederick County, and he also is who Carroll County is named for. He's also mentioned, I just watched the movie, it's about treasure hunt, and he's mentioned in there as passing on information to someone about a treasure. So he's mentioned often. He was an attorney, and Carroll Parkway in Frederick, you see his name all over the place. So he's a fairly famous Revolutionary War era man, and probably would be very interesting to read about. So maybe the next time you're able to go to the library, you could even find a little biography on him and learn more about him. But let's begin by talking about what we do when we read our source. We want to read it a couple of times, so hopefully this was the second time through for you. You highlight what you think is important. We do not need to work in order any longer. So you don't have to use facts from the beginning at the beginning of your keyword outline. You can choose them from wherever you want in the story. So when we create our keyword outlines, we put the facts wherever we desire. Okay, so now you should get out your outline. It looks similar to mine. I didn't draw the lines on mine, but I hope you remember we can put 3 facts in each line. Now on your outline, there are 10 blanks. When this was created, it was created for 3rd and 4th graders. And guess what? The 4th graders have to write 10 sentences. You only have to write 7. If you want to write more, you are certainly welcome to do it. But I would like for you to begin by putting your name on the outline. And since I've told you you can only write 7, that's going to make it harder. But maybe some of you went ahead. I'm only going to do 7. So if you haven't created your keyword outline, now is the time to do it. So for the first one, I thought it was good to start where he was born. And so I chose wealthy. I already know who he is, so I do not need to rewrite his name in number 1. But I chose wealthy Catholic family. And that is what I put for my first 3 words. Now you could replace family with a picture maybe of a family with little stick characters, and then you would have another blank. So however you want to do that is fine. Hit pause for a minute and write these first 3 words, and then we will move on to number 2. All right, now I thought it was important that we point out that he was born in Annapolis, Maryland, because he does give us a lot of rich history in Maryland. So I made that number 2. I put Annapolis, Maryland. I know there's only 2 words there. If you can think of another one, you can certainly put it in there. I tend to stay a little more simple in my keyword outlines. So hit pause and make sure to write in Annapolis, Maryland. Now my third one, I decided it was important. He went, at 8 years old, he went to France to a Jesuit college there. Now remember, 8 is a number, years is an abbreviation, these don't count. So then I have 1, 2, 3. And he went there until he was 28. So I think I may mention that one in the next one, but this is what I put for number 3. You can either put that or something similar. You do not have to do my outline exactly. So you could change some things. All right, then I put, he returned, 28, completed education. So he was gone for 20 years. That's a long time to be away from his parents. 28 is a number, doesn't count, so then I do have the 3 words there. So hit pause and either put this or something that you want to put into your outline. All right, now we're ready to move on to the next. And what I did here, it gets a little confusing talking about Maryland, not being sure whether they wanted to send somebody to the First Continental Congress. I felt like that wasn't that important. What I did think was important is that he visited the Continental Congress in 1776. Doesn't really matter what Maryland was doing at that point. It was what he is doing. So I put that he visited the Continental Congress 1776. So hit pause. You can put that. You could also mention that he worked with a mission to Canada with Franklin and Chase. You could mention that Maryland decides to join the Continental Congress. Remember, this is your paper, so you can certainly make it a little different than mine. But hit pause and make sure you fill out number 5. Now for 6, I did put that at this point, Maryland, and remember MD is an abbreviation, so it doesn't count. Continental Congress is what CC, and that's an abbreviation. Now I put here Maryland supports revolution. Excuse me, this isn't supposed to be Continental Congress. This is CC Charles Carroll. Either one. He signed. So I have 3 words, but I have 2 abbreviations there. All right, hit pause and fill out number 6. All right, and then in 7, I put that he helped to write the Declaration. And he, in my last one, I am going to go one more to show you that I am willing to step out and do a little bit more. But you could end it here, that he helped to write Declaration. That would be a fine ending. But go ahead, hit pause, and make sure you fill in your number 7. Now remember, I like pictures. There are a couple of pictures we could have put in here. You could draw like a little form or a little piece of paper to indicate the declaration. Up here I mentioned family. You could have drawn little stick figures. Maybe for revolution, you could have drawn a little gun. You just have to remember what those things mean. All right, hit pause. Make sure you fill out number 7. And when you're ready, we're going to move to 8. And so here's where I did add one more. And it goes all the way up to 10. You can, if you are really comfortable and you enjoy writing, and you want to go all the way up to 10, you can certainly add 9 and 10. I did add here that he died at 95 in 1832. I could have also put these 3 up here in 7 and got rid of the word helped. We know that it was a lot of men working together on that. So this is my keyword outline for Charles Carroll. And when I see you tomorrow, I would love for some of you to have these finished and to be able to do some oral retells for us, because that's such an important part of the IEW. I also want you to start thinking of strong verbs that you can use in here. I would love to see 2 strong words. And so some of the verbs that we already see, that he went to France, so he would have gotten on a ship and gone to France. So we could think of a word for that. We have that he helped to write the Declaration. Could we think of a different word for write? So we're going to start thinking about those words. And when you get to the writing part, then hopefully you'll start looking for some additional really strong verbs. And always remember, we underline them in green. It's going to be important once we learn all 5 dress-ups that they all have their different colors. So I hope this was helpful for moms and students. And I will plan to see you tomorrow on our virtual meetup. And I hope you have a good evening.